Hello and welcome to my video series on Microsoft Visual Studio. Today we're going to look at how to connect to a SQL Server database and from Visual Studio, and then basically create a series of tables and databases within SQL Server using Visual Studio as an application. Okay, so let's get started. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to basically create a new website because we're going to be using a web-based application, remembering that the difference between an ASP.NET website and a straight Windows form website is ASP.NET simply is writing HTML in a separate layer so that can be accessible to web compilers and therefore be seen on the web. So I'll just go OK. And what we see is that once we create this particular project, we can see here that we have our default ASP site, and then also our web config, as I just alluded to before. When we create a web application, it creates a web config file that allows that application to be available to the web. Okay, before I do anything on this interface, the first thing I want to do is create first of all, make a connection to the SQL Server, and then actually create a set of tables in SQL Server. Okay, how we do this is, first of all, what we need to do is to go into Tools, and what we want to do is we want to connect to the database. What the IT department have done is they have created a virtual server for students, and on that virtual server, each database has been created for each individual student. So first of all, what you'll need to do is you'll need to choose a server name, and that server is called pad STUSQL.01. So I'll just see if this picks it up. Okay, I should just be able to, if it doesn't pick it up, just type in pad STUSQL.01, and then I can choose my database, and you can see here that all the students have their own database. You should only be able to see your own database, so I'm going to choose mine down at the bottom here, W Helmuth. I just test my connection, and it says yep, my connection succeeded, and I'll go OK. Okay. So what you see here is in a couple of previous bits and pieces I've been working with these two databases here, and I don't have a connection with them, but you can see here that with this little green icon here, it tells me that I'm connected to this W Helmuth database. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open that database, expand that database, and you can see here that it just gives me a whole lot of options to be able to, I suppose, manipulate within my database. Similar to Microsoft Access, you can see that we have tables and we can create new tables, and this can be done, I suppose, relatively easy and very similar to Microsoft Access. In addition, Microsoft SQL Server has a whole lot of extra things here, and we'll talk through those in a later video. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you quickly how to create tables in Microsoft SQL Server, and the way we do that is straightforward. I'm just going to expand that, and at the moment you can see here that I've already created these tables, and these tables I suppose are found in the blue textbook, and we've done this with a previous class. Okay, to create a table is pretty straightforward, and what we do is we click on the table, we right click on the table, and we simply add a new table. And we can see here, this is very similar to Microsoft Access. These are the columns or fields, if you like. So I'm just going to create a new table here, and I'm just going to call this student number. And we have the options here of creating a whole lot of different data types, and these are slightly different to Microsoft Access. I recommend that you use the ones that are going to be most relevant are the varchar. So the varchar 50, and this 50 here tells you that basically that it holds in memory 50 characters for that particular data type. But for student number, basically this is going to be a key field. We use varchar unless of course it's a key field, and if it's a key field we'll always need to use the integer field. So I'm just going to put in the integer field and we'll make that our key later on. We'll just type in student name, a couple of extra fields, student name, and as I said before, let's use the varchar data type, and I'll just put in here varchar 50, and what I can do here is I can increase the memory here because there might be a case where a student name is longer than 50 characters, so just to be on the safe side I'm just going to go 100 here, and then I might have something like here's the result, and again we know the result is a number, so we might make that actually a number or an integer. Okay, now if I want to make my student number a key, it's straightforward. I simply highlight that field and I go to the key field up here. I'll set that as the primary key. Now the other key thing that we need to do, pardon the pun, is to actually make set some properties for this key, and the way that we do that you'll see here is when I click on the different fields, we'll see here that the column properties actually change. So what I'm going to do is go to my student number and you see here that the properties have changed. Now because it's a key field, one of the things I need to do is to go down to this identity specification. One of the great things about SQL Server is that you can actually specify the increment of your key, whereas in Access you basically it does that automatically for you and there's no control over that. I just want to change this to yes because we actually want to say this is an identity field or a unique field, and if I wanted to I could seed that or increment that by 2 or 3 or whatever I wanted to. So that basically sets the key field, and then I've got 2 extra fields here, the student name and result. So that concludes this video on how to create a simple table in Microsoft SQL Server.